Good evening. If you could please just double check that your phones are on silent. Hmm? Okay, it is now 7 p.m. We will call to order the meeting of the Fairburn City Council for Monday, May 11th, 2026. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
The Honorable Anatavia M. Benson.
Present.
The Honorable Linda J. Davis.
Present.
The Honorable Fannie Mae Hauser.
Present.
The Honorable Shanita Nichols. The Honorable Samuel Perry.
Present.
And the Honorable Mayor Pro Tem Ulysses J. Smallwood.
Present.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Is your mic on?
Check, check. Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. If we would please stand for the invocation. Pastor Dwight Boone of Crossroads Church.
Let's pray. Father, our hearts are grieved this evening as we pray for the family of Officer Mark Smith, his brothers and sisters on the force. Their hearts have got to be broken here tonight. We just ask that you would strengthen his family as they press through this moment. I also ask that you bless these proceedings. There is much work to be done in the city of Fairburn, and I believe you've chosen the right crew to get it done. I pray that you would give them wisdom and knowledge and understanding. Help them to be cooperative amongst themselves. And we ask, Father, that as Fairburn is situated to succeed, that will be a showcase for not only the South, but for all of America. We thank you. In Christ's name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
Prior to us doing the Pledge of Allegiance, I've asked Lieutenant Dyer from the Fairburn Police Department, who is a leader in the department, a colleague of the fallen officer, and he can pray, y'all. And so to help our healing and to help the healing of the employees of the city of Fairburn. Lieutenant Dyer.
If you don't mind and know the words of prayer, touch your neighbor next to you. With bowed head, Lord, in Proverbs you said, trust in the Lord with all thine heart. Lean not into our own understanding. Acknowledge you in all of your ways, and that you direct our path. Lord, as I've been given no greater honor than standing in the midst and in the middle of my organization and you, with all of my flaws, with all of my errors, with you knowing my heart that it is, I come before you as a humble servant to ask for peace. For those hearts who are troubled, who don't know your name, and the silence is creeping up on them, I ask that you grant them peace. For those who have not heard your voice and is hearing and understanding that you have a way of doing things that we can never understand, I ask that you bring peace. And if they don't understand that peace that you bring, Lord, on behalf of every person that know your name and every person that knows the words of salvation, I ask that you bring them a piece of your kingdom. As I don't know Mark Smith in the abundance of his life that you've blessed him to live, it is my prayer that he has a piece of your kingdom right there next to your side. And Lord, as we continue on to do your work, I ask that you let the words of my mouth and these meditations of my heart be acceptable in your sight, my Lord, my strength, and my Redeemer. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I also ask that we just pause for a moment of silence to honor Sergeant Mark Smith, and to allow those who pray other ways to express their prayers. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Councilman Perry, could you please read the civility pledge?
Civility pledge. The way we govern ourselves is often as important as the positions we take. Our collective decisions will be better when differing views have had the opportunity to be fully vetted and considered. All people have the right to be treated with respect, courtesy, and openness. We value all input. We commit to conduct ourselves at all times with civility and courtesy to each other.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item.
Next item is presentations. The next is going to be a presentation to graduating seniors at the Fairburn Youth Council.
Hello, greetings, Mayor and Council. So we want to take this time to acknowledge our 3 graduates this year, Madison Woods, Lucas Mitchell, and Sanai Scipio. These 3 were part of the inaugural class of our youth council. So we had 1 graduate last year, we have 3 this year. So I wanted to bring them up, have a time to acknowledge now. I only have 1 here today, because as you know, these kids are highly involved. Yeah. Lucas is at lifeguard training. Hopefully he comes in and makes it in. And Sanai is not feeling well. But I want to bring up Madison and Tashaya. I know you have Dallas, but if you can, I want to acknowledge. I want to acknowledge Tashaya Mosley Davis, who is the leader of these youth council members. So she develops their programs, works with them. Thank you to Ms. Dina. They just went through their first council run. They did their first council meeting. It was a mock. So we will invite you to the next ones. But you may remember Madison. Madison started with us. She did the welcome at the State of the City, I think in 2022. I think it was 22. Okay, she was just in 9th grade. But now she is graduating from Global Impact Academy. Undecided right now, so she'll let us know where she heads off. So we want to present her with an award. This just reads Youth Council graduate Madison Woods, and then this is also her cord for graduation.
Oh, wow.
If you want to say anything.
Comments, Madison?
It was a long journey, but it was a good one.
Lucas Mitchell, he is going to Kennesaw. He's a graduate of Langston Hughes High School. Sanai Scipio is going to George Washington. She did receive the Posse Scholarship. She goes to Landmark Christian Academy. Wow. So look forward to seeing. We have some rising 12th graders, and we're replenishing as they graduate. So if anyone's interested, we will have our application that'll drop soon, and we'll let you know when we do our council meeting when Ms. Dina says they're ready. Okay. All right, we're gonna wait till they're ready, but they did really well going through Robert's Rules of Order and everything with her. So, all right, thank you.
Okay, Madam Clerk, next item, please.
The next item is going to be the adoption of the city council agenda.
Members of council, you have before you the agenda for this evening. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Next item, please.
Who made that second? Was it Smallwood or Hauser?
Nichols.
Nichols? Okay. The next item is going to be public comments, and Mayor, we have 4 comments, public people to speak.
Okay, public comments, 30 minutes shall be available for public comments. Each speaker shall be limited to 3 minutes. However, a speaker may transfer his or her 3 minutes to another speaker, but no speaker shall be permitted to speak for more than 6 minutes. So we don't have 10 speakers, so that will not reduce the time to 2 minutes. The issues raised at this time are generally referred to the city administrator for review. Responses will be provided later. Madam Clerk, first speaker.
Yes, the first speaker is going to be Mr. Ernie Brooks.
City Council members, Madam Chair, I'm going to vent a little bit tonight, if you don't mind. I noticed the first thing with what I saw online with the new flow chart, the organizational chart. I printed it out. There's something that's been omitted, and this is an older one. Matter of fact, it was revised 1/31/2024. And what's missing is taxpayers on top, residents. That's real important. So, you know, as far as shareholders, it's been, and it might be a human mistake, somebody just left that out, but it says a lot when you look at the organizational chart. Second, I'd like to talk about the land bank. Question was brought up that there's residents involved in the land bank, and we've been told no, there's not. And I'd like to just name off the addresses that are indeed residential properties. The first one, as you come out of Judy's Restaurant, and there's the Methodist Church, the little brown brick house right there on the corner is one of those residents. But and that's 40 West Campbellton Street. The other ones are 188 West Broad Street, 160 Northwest Broad Street, 152, 136 Northwest, and 122 Northwest. There's 7 total residences, and out of 34 properties in the land bank. And if you want, I can get you a copy of this. If not, and I would have brought this up at the economic development meeting. However, they don't have public comment on their downtown development or citywide development. So I'm bringing it up tonight just because I'm venting, getting a bird's eye view. And if I may, you know, I remember when the city of Fairburn received the courthouse, Duncan Park, and I think Fulton County got rid of Cochran Mill also. But for the life of me, rumor has it that the big fire, the insurance paid off $900,000. And for the life of me, I just don't get it why we haven't made, if we made progress on that courthouse and utilized that property the way we've done Duncan Park, man. And you know, it's real easy. Some things can be jumped on and quickly remedied. For example, the downtown beautification. In the middle, the medium, you've got rubber mulch in the medium where, you know, with the increasing the size of the sidewalk, it's like, man, you know, having traffic lanes. And the red light at Broad Street is 2992. You know what I'm talking about? By Landmark Christian, when you come up, it only allows 4 cars, and this has been complained over and over again. But these are simple things that I think, you know, somehow they can be remedied quickly instead of having to go to a mission statement and a vision. So also, there's some crooked benches. Thank you.
Next speaker.
The next speaker is Ms. Tammy Jones.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm a resident of the parts of Durham Lake. I have been in this residence since 2017. I have some neighbors that's been there a year now. They just got their lease renewed. On January the 18th, my neighbor broke in my house, my next door neighbor. I don't mean a house over, I mean my next door neighbor. Broke in my house where I had 3 cars in my driveway that lives there. We went to Miami and we had to go to a funeral. So therefore, they broke in my house. Officer Bailey was one of the officers that responded to the call. So when they got there, because my alarm system went off, that's how I knew they was in my house, because guess what? We out of town. Why? And if he wouldn't have opened up my garage door, my alarm would have never went off. But my grandson friends live close by, so they ran home, came to my house. Officer tell me they don't do no fingerprints because they minors. That's January, okay? I have called the officer February, March, April, May. I have asked them to stay off my property myself. I have had Officer Harris come over there. I also had an officer come to my house last Friday because after I left my house, wasn't gone 45 minutes. All 3 of her boys in my backyard scoping out my house. I have a French bulldog that I bought. Bought it in December for Christmas. Ever since I bought that dog, they have been trying to break in my house and have broken my house. I can't leave to go to work. I don't even work because I can't leave because guess what? My neighbors is destroying our neighborhood. Period. Their house look a mess from the outside, but the idea that I can't go to work because every time I leave my house, they're sitting out there waiting on somebody to leave. They're watching all our homes. Do you know how bad that feels? If that was your neighbor and you can't go to work because every time you leave your house, somebody trying to break in your house. And I had a job that if I was at work, guess what? I can't have my phone. Everybody in my house got a job but me because guess what? I can't go to work because my neighbors. It don't do me no good to put a fence up if they don't respect the police. So then who gonna see them breaking in my house if I got a fence up? And why should I have to spend more money to keep them out when I have asked them to stay off my property? What are we gonna do about them coming in our community and destroying it and breaking in people's houses and everything? They have broken her son's car, May the 4th. They have been terrorizing our community since they got there. And the landlord had nerve to renew their lease at the end of this month after we made all these complaints to him because they on Section 8. He just want the money.
Next speaker, please.
Mayor, the next speaker is Jacqueline Ellis.
Thank you for the opportunity to appear on your meeting tonight. I'm Jackie Ellis. I've been a resident of Fairburn since March of 2000, and it's been a very good neighborhood to live in. The reason I'm coming to you tonight is because it appears that Fairburn has changed from when I first got here. It was a very friendly, small town. However, I had the misfortune in 24 where I had a crisis with my water. And let me just tell you the reason why am I just coming forward now in 25. Well, it started in August. Up until December, I lost, I'd say right at 20,000 gallons of water. I paid all of my expenses. I never complained about it, but I did consult with the superintendent of water, and he did work with me. And he assured me that once I corrected the situation and it was determined it was on my side, that it was a possibility that I may be able to get some form of adjustment or some consideration. However, it took me all of 25 to find the resources to make that correction. The problem being that I had a leak that was invisible, perhaps underground, that was registering on my meter, and I've paid everything, but I'm saying this, that I corrected it, I found the resources to pay for it, and it's okay now, but the fact that I was referred to Serveline that started in December of 24, yes. I went through Serveline and Hanover, who were, I think, outsourced, and I was told that Fairburn has never participated in any kind of restoration with water loss, which is incorrect. And so I've written and gone through the proper channels, and I just want to bring that to your attention as to how this city has changed, and I feel like I've been ignored, and the reason being that I haven't got a solution before now is because I've been rehabbing the entire time, and a lot of this time when the water was lost, I was in rehabilitation. So on that, I didn't get it corrected until December of 25. And might I also add that it was bothersome because I had to do manual usage.
Okay.
And I just wanted to bring that aware, and I went through the mayor, the superintendent, the city clerk, the supervisors.
Not this mayor. Yes, so I failed to ask each of you to provide addresses so that we can follow up. So since you're standing, would you provide your address? And then I would ask the previous speakers to come up and provide their addresses for the record and for follow-up, please.
I am 3013 Meadow Glen Pass,
Okay.
Fairburn.
All right, thank you so much. Previous speaker, would you just provide us your address, please?
Mayor, they have it wrote down. Ernie Brooks is at
Oh, do you? Okay, all right, you have
33
them.
Coastal Street.
Okay.
Tammy Jones is at 345 Buckingham. 375 Buckingham Lane.
Okay, all right. Our next speaker?
Our last speaker is Ms. Tiana Conyers.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. I'm Tiana Conyers. I reside at 370 Palm Springs Circles in the Brookhaven at Durham Lakes community. I have been a resident for 9 years. I have a few questions. I'm going to just kind of read them to make sure I'm within the 3 minutes time constraints. First, residents are increasingly concerned about the recent rise in crime and theft in our area. What actions are currently being taken to improve safety, increase visibility, and deter criminal activity within these neighborhoods? Second, illegal and overnight street parking continues to be an issue within residential communities. Vehicles parked along the streets create safety concerns, obstruct visibility, and negatively impact the overall appearance of accessibility within our neighborhoods. What enforcement measures are currently in place, and what are the plans for increased enforcement? Third, many residents would appreciate an update regarding the property located at 101 Durham Lakes Parkway, specifically concerning any future development plans or prior discussions regarding potential city acquisition of said property. Additionally, residents would like to better understand the city's strategy for attracting grocery stores and additional commercial development to our area. Does the city currently have any zoning and residential growth position us competitively for these type of investments? Lastly, can the city provide a status update regarding the installation of streetlights and sidewalks along John Rivers Road, similar to the improvements completed on Rivertown, which I think was previously approved as part of the T-SPOSH funds? Thank you.
Thank you. The last speaker? Thank you. Next item.
The next item is going to be the approval of the minutes. We're asking for a motion for each of the minutes for the council meeting minutes of April 16th, 2026, retreat day 1.
Okay, we will read and approve each one separately. So is there a motion to approve the council meeting minutes of April 16th, 2026?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, next item.
The next item is going to be April 17th, 2026, Retreat Day 2.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? Next item?
The next item is going to be April 18th, 2026, Retreat Day 3.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Is there, all in favor?
Aye.
Is there any opposition? Next item?
And the last item is going to be the City Council meeting minutes of April 27th, 2026.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? Okay, thank you. Next item?
Thank you. The next item is going to be the public hearing, Adult Daycare Center. This is a recommendation for Mayor and Council to approve the Adult Daycare Center text amendment, planning and zoning.
Good evening again.
Evening.
The item before you is a request to adopt regulations for adult daycare facilities. Currently, in our city ordinance, there's a definition for adult daycare facilities, but there were no supplemental regulations or area where they were allowed. So we began the process of reviewing the regulations for daycare centers in general and provided some supplemental regulations to allow for that use via a use permit. So adult daycare facilities, we did have the definition, which is rather unique. Typically, if you have a definition, then there is a designation where the use is allowed. In our case, that wasn't within the ordinance, so that we provided the proposed regulations here.
Could you go back and read the definition, please, for the
Sure.
record?
Adult daycare facility is any facility, whether operated for profit or not, which undertakes through its ownership or management to provide or arrange for the provision of housing, food service for one or more persons, or for 3 or more adults who are not related to the owner or administrator by blood or marriage for a period of less than 24 hours per day.
Thank you.
So we realized that we had the definitions, but we needed to come up with the supplemental regulations. So we have these proposed regulations, and they state, when located within a residential zoning district, the use shall be permitted only in conjunction with an institutional use such as a church, temple, other places of worship, and hospital. That regulation is in place because we do have places of worship that are providing additional services that may include adult daycare. So we wanted to make sure if a place of worship had a residential zoning designation and they wanted to provide that service, that that option was made available. The facility shall be for adults over the age of 18, excluding staff. In a residential zoning district, adult day center shall be located a minimum 500 feet from each other as measured from the respective property lines. The use shall comply with all applicable local, state, and federal regulations for standards, licensing, and inspection provided to the Department of Planning and Zoning prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy or occupational tax permit. So along with the city regulations, there are also regulations that other agencies, and we wanted to make sure that that was acknowledged. Provide the minimum landscape strips, buffers, improvements, and setback as specified for the office and institutional zoning district. Provide outdoor recreational area with a minimum of 100 square feet and a minimum of 6-foot-high opaque fence for adult daycare facility, at least 150 square feet for outdoor area for sitting or exercise shall be provided. That's one of the sort of correlations between a daycare center for children and a daycare center for adults. You want to make sure that there's adequate outdoor space so that folks can leave the facility but also be in a secure location. The other regulations, outdoor recreation shall be located within the rear or side yards. The hours of operation shall be limited to Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. No parking is allowed in the minimum front yard. Driveway shall be permitted vehicles to exit the property in a forward direction. In a residential zoning district, adult daycare shall maintain a residential appearance compatible with the neighborhood, not to be detrimental to adjacent properties as a result of traffic noise, light, trash, parking, or other activities. So these are the proposed regulations. These are common in other communities. We think that they would be beneficial. We also want to make sure that anyone who's proposing this would have to go through the use permit process, meaning they would have to present it to the Planning and Zoning Commission, a community meeting would be a part of it, and ultimately they would come before mayor and city council to provide some supplemental information so you can know about their history and, you know, in comparison to the standards, of course. But I think that's an important stipulation as well, because when you're providing a service, you want to make sure that we are taking into context that in a lot of cases, residential is very close to office and institutional uses, so we want to make sure that everything that we're doing is compatible in the context of the surrounding and adjacent uses. So those are the proposed regulations. If you have any questions, I'm available to answer them. Yes.
Questions?
Yes.
Yes, Councilwoman Hauser?
Okay, so how would you proceed in making this adult daycare compatible with the residents, you know, with the residents and neighbors? How, you know, how would
Mayor,
you-
we need to open the
Oh, I'm
public
sorry,
hearing
I'm
first.
sorry. Okay. You finished your presentation?
Yes.
Okay. Then I need a motion to, do I have to close it first and then?
No, you have to just open, make a
Okay.
motion to open.
All right, I request a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Okay. Moved by Councilwoman Davis, second by Councilwoman Benson. Okay, question, all right.
All in favor?
All in favor? I'm sorry.
Aye.
Yes. Okay, any opposition? Yeah, okay. All right, Councilwoman Hauser asked her question, is that okay? Does she need to repeat?
Can you repeat that?
Yes, how would you perceive in making this adult daycare center compatible with the residents, you know, as well as the neighbors? How, you know, how would you go about?
So the reason that we're recommending that it be a use permit is so that we can take into context of the surrounding area. So every applicant would have to provide us with details about the surrounding uses to make sure it's compatible. So it's not necessarily a use that would work in every single street within it. So it's the context. So if someone is looking to do something downtown versus Highway 74, where there are a few parcels that have a office and institutional zone, it would depend on the location. So not necessarily on a case-by-case standard, but looking at the land use standards for each case and take into account where it's located. So we would, for each application, they would have to provide detailed information about the surrounding. And of course, staff would validate what those uses are and provide council with pictures, maps, details about all the approved and all of the pending development so that you would have that information to make a decision.
Okay.
Other questions? Yes, Councilwoman Nichols?
I have a few questions, so.
Are we on a timer?
I'm on a time.
It is, yes.
Okay, thank you. So, I'm just curious, how did this even come about? If you could just kind of go some background around.
So, yes. We had a property owner who did a development where they purchased a piece of property and were looking to look at potential uses. And one of the potential uses was an adult daycare. So they contacted staff and said, how do I make this happen? And so that's when we began the process of reviewing the zoning ordinance to see where the gap was. And then we started to propose text amendments and kind of look at what other cities did as well. So that's where it originated from.
Okay, so can you explain, how is this different from, like, I don't know, assisted living and nursing home? Just trying to understand the difference, like, because the services that will be provided, how is this different? How are we differentiating? You know what I'm trying to say. How is this different from those facilities? But, yeah.
I would say the good news is that we do have regulations for assisted living, personal care.
Okay.
Those are already in there, but we didn't have anything for temporary. So if you're a working professional who is caring for a family member, grandparent, something of that nature, there's a great need for it in the community, but there weren't regulations to say how you go about even establishing something like this. So we do have regulations for the uses that you mentioned, but in this case, it is a location where you would have someone there for less than 24 hours.
Got it. Okay. And then, My question around, so I know that we said we have mechanisms in place to monitor like ongoing compliances with licenses, inspection, safety. How are we going to just make sure we are in compliance with state, federal? Like, what is the process around just ensuring?
So prior to anyone getting a business license, they would have to make sure that all those inspection records are provided to the city. And as a part of the zoning review, we would make sure that that is all adhered to. In a previous city that I worked for, they did have regulations for adult daycare facilities. So on a yearly basis, we would also work very closely with the fire department just to make sure, because they would be involved in sort of the inspection as well.
Okay, and then I think this is my last question, depending on how you respond. But is there a cap on the number of adults allowed in this facility? Are we going to have like staffing ratios? I'm just curious about.
There isn't a cap in the proposed regulations, because we want to work very closely with the fire marshal's office to make sure that we understand the capacity of each facility. So some folks may have larger facilities, so we don't want to put necessarily a cap. And because it's also with a use permit, we can provide conditions along with our review of it. But I would say we would work very closely with the fire marshal, because we would need to know a significant amount of information about the capacity of the facility to be able to answer that question.
Got it, okay. So, okay, this will be my last question. You kind of already talked about just the zoning part of it. Can you explain that again, of like where this would be a part of, as we think of the comprehensive plan, like where is this fitted as in a part of that, or like where exactly the zone, can it be next to? Can you just repeat that?
Sure. So the zoning would be our residential zoning districts and our professional office zoning district institutional areas. In terms of its alignment with the comprehensive plan, one of the calls out is making sure that we are a full service city that provides for both the younger population but also for the senior population. And I think for a livable community, as we kind of use that terminology a lot, that's one of the things that we talk about in the comprehensive plan, is making sure that there are services and, partnering with nonprofits and things of that nature to make sure that, every single need that you would have in the city of Fairburn, that there's an opportunity to pursue that. And especially when, a business owner comes and says, hey, this is what I want to do. The comprehensive plan does call for us figuring out ways to partner, to leverage existing resources to provide a higher level of service than exists.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Another question? Yes. Councilwoman
And if,
Dodson.
okay, and if this is approved for the adult daycare center, would this be the first?
So this is the regulations for adult daycare centers. So anyone who is seeking to open an adult daycare center, this would allow them to do so. Right now, we don't have any regulations, so no one can operate an adult daycare center. But if this is approved, it would at least provide the option.
Okay, thank you.
And then yes, Councilwoman Davis.
Yes. Did you have?
I'll go after you.
Go ahead.
Okay,
and I'll
all right,
comment.
thank you. You answered a couple of mine. I have several more. The allowable districts, there's a lot of agricultural, single-family residential, R1 through R3, office, institutional, then you have parks, open spaces. So that could be really anywhere, right? Is that so inclusive to all of our subdivisions and stuff?
Yes, and that's because of the places of worship. They're located in various zoning districts. There is not a consistent zoning district, so we wanted to make sure that that option was available. But this is not by right. So anyone who would be seeking to open this would have to go through a public hearing and provide a lot of documentation about the facility, a survey, provide us with a lot of details to put into context what they're trying to do, and also adhere to those supplemental regulations that we outlined earlier.
Okay, all right, thank you for that. You stated also that in the residential zoning districts that they shall be located a minimum of 500 feet from each other.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean there's going to be a lot of there's a possibility of a lot of adult centers, daycares within a particular area?
I think that
They have, that's just 500 feet from one another? Explain that, because I'm not sure.
So that is put into place to make sure that there is a distance. So we want to make sure that there's a distance because of if there's anything that should happen, we want to make sure that there's adequate space between the two. And we would also, as you're looking at each one on a case-by-case basis, as you get these applications before you, you would have an opportunity to know if there's a distance, making sure that they were able to adhere to that as well. So I would say that that distance requirement, I think, is really important, especially in the context of residential development. So in Fairburn, you could have a institutional use that is in close proximity to someone's home, and it is in close proximity to someone doing a home occupation or something of that nature. So you have to make sure that with each individual property we're looking at, that we take into account at least some minimum distance. Of course, if you would like to make that more, we can work on that.
Well, I'm just wondering if 500 feet is enough, but, just maybe look at that again.
Okay.
And just see if that's enough distance. I have, let me see. In reference to the opaque fence, are there going to be requirements of the type of material that fence going to be? Or you just have opaque fence?
Yes. So we do have fence regulations in terms of not having, chain link or anything of that nature. But right now, that was the just general language to make sure that there's a safe buffer between folks wanting to go outside and enjoy the outside, but not necessarily if it's not safe for them to leave. We want to make sure that there's that area there. But we can certainly work on making sure that that language is a little bit clear. And as we look at each application, we can make sure that that language is a little tight.
Okay.
But we haven't had one, we only had one
yet.
application so
Yeah,
far,
yeah.
so.
Okay, okay.
One request.
How much time I got? Okay, and this is similar, I think, to what Ms. Nichols was asking about space per adult within the home of the occupancy. Is that going to be a requirement for that?
We would work very closely with the state departments to make sure that our regulations, along with building code regulations, that there's adequate space. I would definitely, of course, it's a case-by-case basis because we don't know the size of the facility, but if we're looking at a smaller facility, we would recommend that there be some sort of cap once we know what the actual footprint is, and we know exactly how much outdoor area that they have. Without that information, it's hard to make a determination one way or the other.
But all of that will be taken into consideration on a case-by-case basis. Okay, thank you.
Councilman Perry?
The only thing I wanted to just make sure that since we're saying the different areas of zoning that it can go in, the citizens will have the opportunity to have a public forum.
Yes.
So that they can discuss their concerns, issues, complaints, or anything, or approval towards this project. That is correct.
That is correct. So with any public hearing, there is a notification that goes into the paper. There are the neighbors within 1,000 feet. They're all notified, and there's a sign that's also placed on the property that lets folks know, hey, this is the date of the meeting. So if you live in that neighborhood and you have concerns, that would be the opportunity to come during a forum similar to this and voice your concerns.
Now, you say 1,000 feet?
1,000.
So if it's near a subdivision, we only get maybe the first row, we don't get the entire subdivision. Maybe we need to look at that language as well to include the entire subdivision if it's near, or residential area if it's near that area.
Yes, we can certainly consider that. And provide that feedback to whomever's applying.
Councilwoman Benson?
I just wanted to be clear on, for this adult daycare center proposed, anything that comes up, would this enable a homeowner to start a business within their home to bring this about?
So if a homeowner wanted to operate an adult daycare center and they had sufficient space, they could request. Doesn't mean it's about right. They could request. So you would have a lot of details about how much space they have, their area, the surrounding land uses, so that you can make a decision whether or not that's appropriate for that location.
Okay, so then a follow-up to that is, if everything falls within regulation, where does the city's regulations line up with, say, an HOA's covenants or POA's covenants? Which one has the authority, and will this language allow for there to be some sort of partnership or understanding of hierarchy?
I would say in terms of just what the city can adhere to, we can only enforce the city ordinance. The city cannot enforce any covenants. So that's two separate lanes. Because of the notification piece, though, the members of the community would be notified. So if there's something in the covenants, you would notify so you could reach out to that property owner privately. But in terms of the city, we can only enforce the city ordinance, not necessarily any covenants.
Okay.
Councilwoman Hauser?
I have just one more.
What, okay. Individual that will be operating, or occupying this adult daycare center, would they need to have a, license or
Yes, of course. Yes.
certified or? Okay.
The state also has regulations as relates to adult daycare that requires state licensure as well. All of that would sit on top of everything Ms. Brookins is talking about. So to operate one legally, you have to have a license from the state, from the Department of Community Health.
Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Nichols?
Yes, just one quick question. So as some of my points around just the ratios and this cap, does it need to be in this text, or is that something that, because I know you say you'll talk to like fire to see what that is. Do we need to include that in here? And
I would recommend that at this juncture that we not necessarily include it because it's not permitted by right. So anyone who is requesting to do this would have to come before this body, and you would make a decision whether or not it's appropriate for that location.
we could say no with no liability if that was what we seen. That's what I'm just,
Yes.
okay.
I would just, for context, we gonna let our zoning attorney answer the question.
I was just gonna add, and Ms. Brookins already made reference to this. When this comes before you for an adult daycare facility, you have the option to add a condition to the special use permit as to the capacity that you want to have, the cap, the amount of people that you want to have at a specific facility. So that would be part of your process, and staff will also make a recommendation after their review as to, what they think would be appropriate. So that can be a part of the special use permit condition, and that will be something that the applicant will have to hear.
So you don't think it needs to be a part of this amendment because it's gonna be by application, so we don't need this, okay. Thank you.
Okay. And then I have several questions as well. I agree with Councilwoman Davis that the 500 feet distance for one adult daycare to another is too small, too limited. It needs to be much broader than that.
Okay.
And then could you put back on the screen the elements of the adult daycare?
Sure. Mr. Smith?
All right, so I'm a little confused regarding statement 1. When located in a residential zoning district, it relates to institutions, churches, temples, I get that. But that seems to conflict with number 11. So help me understand the difference, because 11 is saying, based on the way I'm reading it, that it is allowed in a residential area. But I thought it would be only allowed in a residential area if it was an institution that was applying for the adult daycare.
Gotcha.
Is that correct?
So both regulations are supplemental. So you have to have an institutional use, but I thought it was very important that if it is in a residential area or close to a residential, that it has the appearance and is compatible with the character of the existing area, so that anyone, even if it is a nonprofit that is seeking to open a adult daycare facility, that they make sure to take into the context the architectural character of a residential area. So you wouldn't necessarily want to do something that was in conflict with the surrounding area. So if every house on the block has hip roofs or gable roofs, you don't want to put something completely different so that you were to, able to highlight your business, you have to take into context the neighborhood. So I thought that was really important. And also, as it relates to traffic and noise, probably won't be an issue, but to make sure that we are considering that as a part of each application, I thought it was very important that that language be included along with lights as well, because if you are, having lights or things like that in the area, you want to make sure if you're in a residential area that those lights are not pointed toward anyone's homes or anything of that nature. In terms of parking, if you have staff parking, you want to make sure that that's in the context of a neighborhood, which is different if it was a institutional use that was next to a school or next to a series of nonprofit businesses where they expect a lot of traffic to go back and forth. But in the neighborhood context, it's a little bit different if the adjacent property is a residential use. So the first one is to make sure that it's in connection to a institutional use such as a place of worship. And the last regulation is to make sure that even if it is connected to an institutional use, that the neighborhood character is always taken into a context when reviewing it.
Okay, so then, if it were an institution, a church, we have many churches that are in residential neighborhoods, and if they wanted to get into this business, are they required to build a separate facility to meet these requirements? Or are they allowed to have the adult daycare center in their places of worship?
They're allowed to have it if they can meet all building, fire codes, and all of the items we looked at here. And so we would have to know the context of where they're located. But they would be allowed to request it, not by right, request that they convert the inside facilities to accommodate an adult daycare center if they want to provide that service to their members.
Okay. And then my last point, I believe you said that as part of one's application, they're required to provide a copy of their license from the state to operate an adult daycare. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
It may not be at the time of the application, but we would certainly make that a condition to make sure that before anything opened, that they would have those licenses. Because sometimes, as a part of the application process, before they make any retrofits to the facility or do any code or start putting a substantial amount, they want to make sure that council is open to the idea.
Okay, I would ask for consideration if the requirement be to include the application to the state, because that application will provide a lot of the information that has been asked here in terms of the ratio of staff, to the client. That's there, the squash, so all of the state requirements, right? And then that comes before us as part of the decision relative to an adult daycare.
Yes.
Okay,
You can do that.
okay. All right, any other questions or comments? No? Okay, then do I close the hearing?
Members of the public may want to speak.
Oh, okay.
Ask for those in favor.
Okay, yes. Why did I think it was different? Okay, yes. Are there members of the public that want to speak in support of this text amendment? Yes, please come up and introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. We are the requesting organization.
Sir,
Who is
please.
we?
Excuse me?
Who is we?
This is South Haven Incorporated,
Okay.
and I have Ms.
Sure, is that allowed? Okay. Yes, please. Okay, Pastor.
If you could pronounce your name
Yeah.
prior to
Just give
speaking.
one to the clerk, please.
If you could pronounce your name.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor Jones and Councilwoman, Chair, Ms. Jones, and other council members. My name is Vicki Payne, along with my husband, Dr. William Payne, and we are South Haven, well, we represent South Haven Incorporated. And you will see that's been passed out in front of you, who South Haven, what South Haven is. South Haven Incorporated is seeking approval to expand our business into the adult day health services into the city of Fairburn. The following points we're just going to highlight. I won't take much of your time, so I just want to say thank you for considering us and allowing me to speak tonight. We are a business that has been in business for 28 years of proven services. South Haven has successfully served Georgia seniors, disabled adults, and blind residents for 28 years with an impeccable history of compassionate care and compliance. We are licensed by the State of Georgia Department of Community Health and Medicaid certified in the EDWP provider sector. We serve vulnerable citizens. The Adult Day Health Program is designed for seniors and disabled adults who require more than supervision, assistance, and structured care during daytime hours. There is a senior center, but these adults need a little more assistance than being able to go just to a community senior center. Also, we support families and caregivers. The program provides relief for working families and caregivers while offering participants a safe and engaging environment. We would like to align with the City of Fairburn. South Haven Incorporated supports the City of Fairburn's continued revitalization by introducing healthcare-oriented, centered community services that benefit local residents. Economic and employment impact. The proposed program would create local employment opportunities, including healthcare staff, dietary staff, transportation, and administrative positions. Community engagement for seniors. Participants would engage in activities, wellness monitoring, meals, exercise, and social interaction that reduces isolation and improve their quality of life. Healthcare and safety focus. The adult day health environment promotes wellness, structure, supervision, and safety for individuals who cannot safely remain alone during the day. Experienced operators. South Haven is an experienced organization with decades of operational knowledge and service to vulnerable populations across Georgia. A community resource. The facility is intended to enrich the community, support families, and provide compassionate healthcare-centered services to Fairburn residents. And in closing, I'd like to say we are not simply operating a business. We're creating a place of dignity, safety, structure, and community for seniors and disabled adults who deserve compassionate care close to home. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mario McMichael, and I am here with the owner of the property that's requesting a special use permit. He would like to introduce himself to City Council to get you familiar with him.
Council members, Madam Chair. My name is Kenneth Nutt, and I bought this property maybe a year and a half ago, and I paid close attention to keeping it architecturally fitting, you know, the way it was originally. And so we did a best we could do to make it something that the city would be proud of. And I'd just like to add, if this amendment is approved, the Paynes will have my support to keep it nice and something that the city would be proud of.
Could you just state the location of it?
89 West Camerton Street. It's right at the intersection of West Camerton and
Rivertown.
Rivertown.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
I just wanted to address one issue. I've established several of these facilities for other clients of mine. There was some concern about the occupancy. And usually in these other municipalities, it's the fire marshal that decides how many bodies can be inside a facility. And if it's over a certain amount, what needs to go in place if you have over a certain amount of people. Some facilities are required to install a sprinkler system if they're over, say, 6 or 8 or whatever number the fire marshal deems safe for the community. So I just wanted to kind of address that because I know that the council brought that up at one point.
Okay. Yes.
Just a point of clarification, the item before you is a text amendment. So no applicants are allowed to submit applications just yet.
Yes.
And if it is the will of council, we can certainly look into those other items that you mentioned, such as the fence, the community meetings, and make sure that those items are tightened up. But as of currently, no applications this is for any potential use within the city. So the context now is citywide and what those regulations are most appropriate, not a specific site.
Right,
Yes.
okay.
But the question was asked, what was the genesis of this text amendment? And so that's why we had those speaking in support of it. All right, any other comments? No? Okay. All right.
Those in opposition?
Yes, I was just thinking, okay, yes. Are there any who oppose the text amendment? Okay. No opposition? All right, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So move. Second.
Been motion and second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. All right, next item. Oh, are we voting now? Okay, we voted now, okay. All right, you have before you, let's see, which one was that? Okay, Madam Clerk, could you read the motion, the item?
The recommendation is for mayor and council to make a motion to approve or deny the adult daycare center text amendment.
Members of council, you have heard the comments from the public hearing regarding a text amendment change to accommodate adult daycare centers. Is there a motion?
I have a question. Can we, because you both had
Okay, well, let's bring it to the floor, and then you can, yeah, bring it to the floor.
So
is there a
moved. So moved.
Is there a second? We're bringing the item to the floor.
Second.
Okay, all right, yes, questions? Okay, Councilwoman Nichols? Mhm.
Yes, I agreed with what you and Ms. Linda said around the 500 feet. Can we change that, recommend the change of the 500 feet in the text, make it larger?
Okay, so, Ms. Brookins, I know we have before us a change in the text amendment, but we have provided you with additional items for consideration to be included. So what is, Madam Attorney, what is our process for having those items included prior to voting?
So you can make a motion to continue this item to the next regularly scheduled public hearing or regular scheduled meeting so that staff will have the opportunity to implement the changes, review, determine what the appropriate distance requirement is beyond 500 feet. If that's the will of council tonight, then you can certainly do that and take this up once staff has implemented the recommendations from council and hear this at the next meeting.
Okay, so that requires a substitute motion. Councilwoman Nichols, do you want to make a substitute motion?
I make a substitute motion to make the edits around the 500 feet distance and move that to our next council meeting for approval.
I'm
Do
sorry.
you only want that one item or all
All
considerations?
the items, sorry, all the feedback that.
Councilmember Nichols, if you could say, make a motion to continue this item
Yes.
to the next public hearing at the next meeting, and then supplement it with the rest of your language.
Okay. I make a motion to move this to the next council meeting with the recommendations that we provided.
Is there, okay, it's been moved in second, second by Councilwoman Davis, to continue this item to the next council meeting. Okay.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposition? Okay, thank you. Next item.
The next item is number 4 on the regular agenda, the resolution approving the 2026 strategic plan. The recommendation is for mayor and council to approve a resolution approving the 2026 strategic plan of the mayor and council of the city of Fairburn.
You have before you recommendation to approve the 2026 strategic plan. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any questions or discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? Okay, that motion carries. Next item, please.
The next item is number 5, Vickers Road Residential Development, the final plat review. This is a recommendation for mayor and council approve the final plat for the Vickers Point Residential Development, planning and zoning.
Denise, did she go outside?
I think she.
Oh, okay. Yes, she's been called. Here she comes.
Busy woman.
That's what happens when you have a lot of items on the agenda.
Yes.
The item before you is a request for a final plat. The location is along Vickers. This is a phase 1 of the development. All staff members, including the utilities, fire, public, community development, public works, have had an opportunity to review the request. The applicant is available. Just for context, that's the general area. It's 138 Vickers Road. The applicant has provided detailed information in terms of the as-built, the final plat, and all the lots. It does adhere to all of the ordinances requirements at this stage of the development. Of course, they do have to come back to you again for phase 2, but this is for phase 1.
You have before you the final plat review for the Vickers Road Residential Development. Is there a motion to bring it to the floor?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Questions? Yes, Councilwoman Davis?
Yes, just a question. How many homes are in this?
100.
So
Final
this is the townhome development. I believe the total amount is under, I think this is a.
Is it broken down to homes, townhomes, single
Yes,
family?
and the applicant is here and has larger images so that they can share that with you as well.
Yeah.
And I know that there was concerns related to transportation with the final plat. The applicant is also here and can speak to the traffic studies that were provided as well. I did make sure that when they mentioned that we were going to the public forum, I feel that might be a question that's asked, and they are here to answer any of those questions.
Do we want to bring them to the? Mhm.
Hi, good evening. I'm Jared Brode. I'm the Land Development Manager for Direct Residential Communities, and I'm here to answer any questions about the final plat.
Okay. Councilwoman Davis, you can repeat your questions?
Yes. Can you share the number of homes and
There are, in phase 1, there are 112 townhome units. And in the second phase, there will be 50 single-family units.
50
50, yes, ma'am.
on the same plat? On this
No, in
phase
the
1,
in
this is a,
phase 2, yes, just phase 1 is 112 townhome units.
oh, okay. Okay, all right. That's,
Any
yes,
question? Okay.
that's it.
Other questions? I have one. All of the townhomes will be owner occupied, or they're rentals?
Owner occupied.
Owner occupied, okay. Do you have a, might be premature, but what's going to be average price for the townhomes?
I believe we're at the ballpark right now is 300s.
Okay. And when do you expect to break ground, if approved?
We will be submitting for permits probably as soon as we get the plat recorded.
Okay, all right. And then, Ms. Brookins, could you just talk about what's the final plat? What was it before, and what is different from what was before and what's being presented to us tonight?
Gotcha. So the parcels right now are split up into various two sides of the roads. There's phase 1 and phase 2. The final plat combines the as-built and all of the lot dimensions. So the final plat allows any builder to come in and submit for building plans. The important piece of the final plat is that it's sort of the last stage of the development that makes sure that any of the supplemental regulations that were in things like the zoning ordinances are spoken to. It makes sure that any of the infrastructure that's required is also put into place. And so all various staff members are allowed to look at it and approve it to make sure that before any homes are built or before the property goes vertical and you start seeing the townhomes built, that all of those things, such as like the passive park, the dog park, that any of the fencing requirement, detention pond, all of that is constructed and put in place. So the final plat is sort of the last stage of the process before homes are being built.
Okay. And will we see renderings, or has that already come before us? I don't recall.
So the renderings have not come before you, but there are regulations in there in terms of just having a certain amount of brick. Those are in the zoning regulations. The applicant is required to submit all of their individual plans as they submit their building plans to make sure that any of those zoning requirements are adhered to. And this is only for phase one.
All right, thank you. Yes, Councilwoman Davis.
Yes, thank you. Have we established a cap for rentals in that subdivision?
This is an owner-occupied subdivision. But they have mentioned it, I believe, in their covenants as well. But we don't enforce the covenants. But
Okay.
I have one question.
Yes, Councilwoman Nichols.
You just had spoke on about the traffic situation study. I just would like to hear about the updates around that. You have mentioned that.
So the applicant was required to submit a traffic study as a part of the development. I'm not a transportation engineer, but I have the applicant here and they can speak to that much better than I can.
So, Direct Residential purchased this property with the land disturbance permit already in place, right? So I was not personally involved in that, but it would have gone through the permit process with the city, and at that time, the traffic concerns would have been addressed.
All right. Any other questions? Yes, Councilwoman Benson.
Just a point of clarification, because yes, we do not deal with what's set in covenants, but there is a covenant set for.
Excuse me, yes, there is a covenant set for both phases, the same covenants, right? I believe, offhand, there's a 10% cap, right? And that's based on hardships, right? So if something were to happen personally, then the HOA would look at it and say, okay, we will allow this person to rent their house for whatever the hardship was, right? But we are not selling this per rent, right? We are trying to sell these all fee simple.
Go ahead, Ms. Brookins.
And just a point of clarification, this process has gone through the rezoning process. The applicant was required to submit the land disturbance permit and provide the traffic information. All of that was done before the as-built and any of that was submitted. So there was a lot of development in terms of just the civil requirements, the infrastructure requirements, all of that had to be completed before it was brought to you all.
Understood.
Councilman Perry.
100 townhomes, 50 single independent, what's that, like?
Single family homes, yes.
Single
Family homes.
Single family homes. That's about 200-300 extra vehicles. Is there anything with regards to traffic for a red light at that intersection? 'Cause I think there's enough traffic coming from both sides of that road as it is.
Yes, it is, yeah. But
So that was reviewed as a part, and the person who reviewed the traffic study is luckily here with us this evening.
Come on up, Lester. We've had this conversation.
And it is a state highway.
So prior to this development, we made them do a traffic study and trip generation analysis and a signal warrant analysis. And it came back that the signal was not warranted at that intersection. But they put in all the other recommendations from that traffic study, left turn lanes, decel lanes at both entrances, 2 entrances at one, at the townhome side, there's actually 2 entrances there with decel lanes and left turn lanes there as well. So
So please state who reviewed that study and said a traffic light is not warranted.
myself and the traffic and transportation engineers with Pond and Company.
Okay. So is the entrance Highway 92?
No,
Not 92, 138?
no.
Where
Entrance
is
is on Vickers Road. So the entrances, they're right across the street from one another on Vickers Road. So,
No state highway?
no,
Okay, okay. Yes.
Will all those cars come out on 138? Is there another exit or back way? That's a lot of cars.
We made them do the actual traffic study twice to verify that it was not one required. And if it's not required by the traffic study, and the traffic study met all the requirements, we can't force them to put one in, a traffic signal in. So they did meet
Y'all
the
done a
warrant.
study on accidents at that intersection? There's been a lot of accidents right there.
So this, GDOT actually looked at it as well, so it's not warranted there, so there's no way to get a traffic signal installed there, unfortunately. So
High bar required.
unlike the one at John Rivers, that townhome community there, same thing took place there. A traffic study was conducted, we reviewed it, and GDOT reviewed it, and it was warranted at that location. So it's based on the actual signal warrant analysis, so it was not warranted at that location. So they were not required to put it in, but they put in all the other recommendations that derived from that traffic study.
So cars in that subdivision from both sides will be coming out on 138. Is that?
The road was widened to handle the capacity, the road was widened to handle the additional traffic derived from that subdivision.
All right, remember, 138 is a state highway,
Yes.
Georgia Department of Transportation.
Yeah.
So, you know.
That's
All
going to be
right,
interesting.
Councilwoman Benson?
Just to follow up on that, and that traffic study was done with the understanding that there is a second phase coming, so they took both
It was
phases
done-
into consideration?
Yeah, so it was done as one development, so they phased it for their convenience. So it
Okay.
was not initially phased, it was one development.
Okay.
All, both the townhomes and the single-family residences.
Okay.
All right, so I have a question regarding your 10% rental allowance as part of your covenant. Why 10%? Was there any consideration for something less?
I believe that's what's in the covenants. I don't know, I don't have it right in front of me, but I believe it reads 10%.
Okay, can we verify that and request reconsideration for something less than 10 if that's the number?
I would say because the public hearing and the rezoning has been approved for this ordinance, we can't put the condition on it, but we can certainly have that discussion with the developer about that, but we can't require it for the final plat.
Okay.
And for clarity, Mayor, we can certainly have that discussion, as Ms. Brookins mentioned, but the city, I think Ms. Brookins made that point earlier, we don't actively enforce covenants. And so-
No, I understand. No, we're just asking for consideration and strongly encourage. Yes. Okay, any other comments? Okay, all right. So there's a motion on the floor to approve the final plat. Is all in favor? Is that correct?
No,
We motioned and we motioned.
They just made a motion to bring it to the floor, right?
Yeah, but, and discussion, now we vote on it.
Yes.
Okay, yes, so,
So moved.
okay, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? All right, thank you. Next item?
The next item is number 6, Facility Usage Agreement for H2O Academy. This is a recommendation for mayor and council approve the facility usage agreement between the city of Fairburn and Keep Me Alive H2O Academy to provide swim lessons at Duncan Park Pool and Splash Pad. Parks and Rec.
Greetings, Mayor and Council. What you have before you is a facility use agreement. This is the same facility use agreement that we use for our soccer program and anyone that is looking to use our facility for an extended amount of time. This is H2O Academy. They are one of our partners over the years. They help train our lifeguards. We tested the waters a little bit last year with introducing swim lessons back. We got overwhelming feedback that we needed to do more sessions, more lessons. We adjusted to have during the week instead of the weekend, so we've kind of made some adjustments on that. But what you have before you is with H2O Academy to do swim lessons at Duncan Park.
You have before you a request to approve a facility use agreement with H2O Academy for swim lessons at Duncan Park. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Question? Yes, Councilwoman Benson? I mean, Nichols, sorry.
It's okay. Thank you. I just have a question because I see what the city is agreeing to, but is there any potential, you think, of liabilities to the city if something was to happen? Like, what are we responsible for when it comes to just something tragic happen?
So with all of our vendors, we require the risk management standards that our risk management department sets. Each vendor must submit their insurance certificate to us with us listed under as a certificate holder. So during the times that they will be utilizing the pool, we're utilizing their insurance with us listed as a holder.
Okay, so their insurance will be responsible?
Yes, so it's an insurance limit that the attorneys and risk management has set. It's up to $1 million. Has some other little occurrences up under $2 million for something else, different occurrences that they require. That goes through risk management. We have to submit that certificate before they're able to come on the premises and do swim lessons.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Okay, Councilwoman Hauser?
And the ages are from 6 months to 17 years
Yes.
old?
Mhm.
Okay, now there's a $135 registration fee. Is that for the 6 months old as well?
Yes.
For everyone?
Yes, so that is everyone, and then it has our $10 fee already built into that. But yes, that's for everyone. We hope to expand to adults while we're there. We'll kind of just see how we go. We may have to bring that back to you. Just seeing what the feel is. We've gotten some interest from some adults that have said that they would like to learn how to swim as well. So that may be a modification later on.
And I have another question, and you said the staff would be Red Cross and CPR lifeguard certified?
Yes. So our staff, since the pool has been open, has been Red Cross AED lifeguard certified, CPR certified. We provide that certification as a part of employment with us to help us entice some more people to come aboard our team. So yes, and then the lifeguard instructors, they have to have the swim lessons instructors have another level of a certification.
Okay, and then the ratio would be, is that 6 in a group?
Yes.
To one?
To one. Mhm. Now, when you get to the smaller ones, a lot of times the parents are welcomed in with our 6-month-olds. Our parents are in the pool even up to, I think, up to a year. They're in the pool with them. So if there's a time where we may have a class that needs a little bit more attention to another, we'll add in some more people.
And you also said the sessions are going to be 30 minutes?
Yes.
Would that be for the little 6?
Mhm.
6
Yes.
Oh, as
Yes.
well?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? And I will say, yes, this is an overwhelming need, and it really has been for the 30 years that I've lived in Fairburn, quite frankly. That's when we had the other pool, and it was, operated by the county at the time. And adult swim lessons are absolutely needed. I've tried numerous times. Maybe this time I'll get it. Okay. So, but I'm glad to know that, yeah, that is for consideration as well. And then last thing I will say, and this will come up at another appropriate time. As an aside, we are celebrating the 10th anniversary of the Duncan Park Pool and Splash Pad. And it's amazing, and it's just unbelievable that it is now 10 years. And Chapin was the inaugural director for that opening, and she is here now, and believe you me, she's learned lots of things along the way. So be reassured that it's in good hands. And so thank you for bringing this to us, Chapin. Any other questions or comments? All right, so all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay. No, I did, to bring it to the floor.
I'm looking at Dina's face.
Yeah.
Didn't I bring it to the floor?
Well, you
Have
need
to bring it to the floor?
We bring it to the floor, but we still have to make a motion
To
to.
vote on it? Okay. All right. Is there a motion to approve this agreement with H2O Academy?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hauser?
Give it to Hauser, yes.
Any opposition? Okay, that motion carries.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Next item.
The next item is number 7, ordinance to amend Chapter 29 of the Code of Ordinances, International Fire Code. This is a recommendation for mayor and council to approve an ordinance to amend Chapter 29 of the Code of Ordinances of Fairburn, Georgia, to adopt the most current editions of the International Fire Code, as well as applicable National Fire Protection Association, NFPA standards, and other fire and life codes adopted by the state of Georgia, the fire department.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
Again, the purpose of this agenda item is to amend Chapter 29 of the City of Fairburn Code of Ordinances to adopt the most current editions of the International Fire Code, all applicable National Fire Protection Association standards, and other fire and life safety codes adopted by the state of Georgia. Fire Department is recommending council's approval or requesting council's approval to amend Chapter 19. 29.
You have before you an ordinance to amend Chapter 29 of the Code of Ordinance, International Fire Code. Is there a motion to bring to the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Yes, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any questions or discussion?
I had one.
Yes, Councilman Perry?
Chief, just if you could, what are some of the updates that would come with this?
So today I brought my fire marshal with me just in case you have some questions. I'm gonna let Chief Campbell talk on that. This is everything.
Great question. Good evening, Council and Madam Mayor. So basically, this is just to clean up the language that the current way Chapter 29 is written right now, it's locked us into the 2018 IFC as well as the 2018 Life Safety Code. And what I'm doing, instead of having to come to you every few years to update our Chapter 29, I want to get rid of the specific year connotation and just whatever the state has adopted, because every 3 to 4 years, the NFPA and the IFC update the codes. And there's not drastic changes in the code, but the state adopts every 4 to 6 years, they make an adoption. So the state just adopted the 2024 IFC as of January 1st. It took them a whole year to go through DCA at the state level, to get all the attorneys at the state to agree on the changes. And then the state makes slight amendments to those, which we have to adopt as well. So this language that is in this ordinance is just cleaning up Chapter 29 to say, we're not going to be holding to a specific year. Whatever the state adopts, we are going to adopt, so we don't have to keep coming back to you. And that's usually, again, the International Fire Code as well as the Life Safety Code and a few other NFPA codes, such as the sprinkler code that was mentioned earlier for certain properties like daycares. That's what the Life Safety Code governs as well, is all those different occupancies. It's what we use in our job as the fire marshals to do plan reviews and to conduct building inspections. So we're just cleaning up the language. Nothing's drastically changing other than whatever the state currently has adopted. We don't have to keep coming back to you and asking you, okay, the state's made this change. Every time the state makes a change, which is every 4 to 6 years, we can just automatically, this is going to allow us to whatever the state has adopted, we will adopt. And again, some of our specifics in our code are a little more restrictive than the state, and the language further annotates that wherever the codes we kind of differ, the more restrictive of the two is the one we go with.
But for auditing purposes, whenever there's audit, we will be in compliance, correct?
Yes. Okay. So that's another thing about ISO. ISO looks to make sure you're within 6 years of whatever the most current code cycle is. So for the International Fire Code as well as the Life Safety Code, that's the 2024 edition, and we need to adopt this now so we can be in compliance with the ISO as well.
I have a question.
Another question? Yes, Councilwoman Nicholson.
Yes, thank you for this. I appreciate you all being very proactive and keeping us up to date. So just for clarification, this is more just an administration edit. There's no implication of changes that we would have to be tied to financially, operationally with this adjustment?
None whatsoever. This is just administrative cleanup language, so we don't have to keep coming to you every few years when the state finally adopts the newer code. Again, I don't want there to be a date attached to it. A lot of cities and counties have done this similar change, so again, they don't have to keep coming back to their governing bodies to accept the newer version every time the state updates it.
Got it, thank
Just
you.
administrative purposes.
Any other question? All right, so you have before you an ordinance to amend Chapter 29 of the Code of Ordinance International Fire Code. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? That motion carries. Next item?
Thank you.
The next item is number 8, the Public Safety Complex, Goodwin Mills Kwood LLC change orders. This is a recommendation for mayor and council. Approve the change orders for additional design and inspection services for the Fairburn Public Safety Complex to Goodwin Mills Kwood LLC for an amount not to exceed $592,267.74.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
What you have before you is an item that represents a change order with 3 amendments from our designer for the Public Safety Complex, Goodwin Mills Kwood, or known as GMC, for additional design services, getting their price in accordance with the GMP price as a fee percentage, the additional coordination with GDOT for the coordination of the traffic studies, the warrants, and the traffic control and signal, as well as the special inspections that will take place during the construction process.
You have before you Public Safety Complex, Goodwin Mills Carwood LLC change order. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion? Questions? Councilwoman Davis?
Mr. Dana,
Yes, ma'am.
were all these changes expected, or is this where we are with the complex, with, you know, that these changes are coming about in such huge numbers?
Well, I will say that not all of them were expected. The first portion, the fee percentage adjustment, was expected because their percentage, when you do CM at risk or design build process, the designer at the time does not know or does not have the final cost or does not establish the final cost for the project. So they issue a proposal on a fee basis on the percentage of the overall cost of the construction. So once we nail that down at the fall, the winter of last year, then the architect can come back and say, based on the final costs that we've agreed to, that has been agreed to for the GMP or the guaranteed maximum price of construction, here's our final fee as a percentage of that. And as the cost of construction goes up, of course, their fee percentage goes down. So they presented it in the beginning, and we adjusted it as we had an initial price, and then once we netted on this price, they honed in on that final fee percentage. So this is just the delta to get to that correct percentage of the construction costs. And then the coordination with GDOT is totally unexpected. That's out of our hands.
Yeah,
So
that's the roundabout thing? Is that the?
Roundabout, traffic signal, J-turn, we've been around and around through several. We're still coordinating. We're still in conversation as of today. So I'm going to just set expectations that, as we said before, that depending on what they say, that could impact the project costs and schedule. So and that's not our call, as the mayor mentioned earlier with the other project. That portion of the road is GDOT.
Yeah.
And the special inspections, I would say, is not an unexpected cost, but it was not necessarily that at the onset of the project that GMC would do it. We did ask some other on-call vendors for pricing, and it just made sense for this project for the GMC to provide the special inspections. But special inspections are very normative to the construction industry. We did them on Fire Station 23.
Right.
They're just the state of the industry now, so it's nothing that was unexpected from our perspective, just we didn't know the amount, which is also due because you have to finalize the scope. Once you finalize the scope and the size of the project, then you can hone in on the cost of design services or the cost of the special inspections.
Okay. Were there any of these increases due to any additional costs incurred or increased since we did the initial cost?
We're not in the sense that there's been increase of scope or unnecessary increase of scope of the project or like cost of materials. But with the construction manager at risk process and design build process, you are building, finalizing the scope before you bring it forth. So with Fire Station 23, for example, that process, the architect designed the whole project, then we put it on the street. With this process, you start designing, and we engaged our construction manager, and they're still finalizing the scope of the project and the design as we have those dialogue and collaborate. So it helps be efficient in terms of bringing costs down in terms of construction because you build in constructability, but you don't know the final estimated costs once you get started with the architect because you're still collaborating to finalize the project. So that's why they give you that fee that once we all agree, and we is not just the architect and the contractor, but us, the city, say, this is the scope.
Right.
And then they're like, all right, now with that scope and the estimate from the construction company, now we know the breadth of the entire project and what all we need to do, not just from design, but also construction administration.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's all.
All right. Any other questions? Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Smallwood?
That was kind of where I was, because I was wondering, was it due to the current state of the national? Was it increases in that? But what caught me, though, because it says, of note, the above fee is our estimate based on current available schedule and scope. So I know this is your realm, and you can't really give us guarantees, but do you see this happening again, having to come back and ask for more money for this I mean, I know how it is, but, what do you see going forward?
If you're asking me will there be other change orders on this project, I cannot sit here and tell you no.
Right.
If you're asking me will the design team have other change orders based on the design of the project, not at this moment. GDOT, the GDOT coordination is the biggest unknown.
Yeah. Okay.
Now that we've solidified the scope, we've already started with construction. We're pretty much locked in with what we are building and what is going to be the final product. So you won't see this again.
Okay.
But unforeseen circumstances and depending on external stakeholders' decisions may impact the project. Does that answer your question?
Yep, you got me.
Okay, Councilwoman Nichols?
Just so I can make sure I'm understanding this right. So the biggest change was that GDOT kind of changed how their rules around the traffic. So that was unforeseen. We cannot control, like they've made this new adjustment, right?
We haven't even finalized the conversation with them.
So that's not even okay. So then we still don't know that more changes from GDOT could come.
Correct.
And now this budget will potentially increase again.
It could, depending on what we finalize with them. So what is represented in the change order is the unanticipated amount of work to just get to where we are now. Because it's normal to do a traffic study, to do a warrant analysis and submit that, and there is some back and forth. But as we've shared, and as my colleague Lester knows, we've been talking about this for a year and a half or two with GDOT, which is not anticipated. And several different warrant analyses, and both his consultants and my team going round and round and round. So that was above and beyond, and it was fair to say that's unanticipated to do. If we anticipate 2, now we've done like 4 or 5, right? And that is real-time redoing the layout of the turning lanes, redoing warning analysis, redoing traffic analysis, redoing these signals for this setup, then this scenario, then that scenario, based on what they've asked. So yes, depending on that, it may be a change order from the architect and the contractor, depending on what they say.
And that can trigger another design fee.
It could, because that would be a design fee change from the architect, which is GMC, and then there'll be another change order potentially, maybe, maybe not, from the contractor, the construction manager, depending on what that impact is.
How do we talk to them? Because how can we get in contact with them to ask them about?
So I would tell you that this is not atypical for working with the Georgia Department of Transportation. It is common that these approval processes are lengthy and go through a number of iterations. That's not just in Fairburn. If you talk to most building engineers, traffic engineers, they will tell you the same narrative. It is the norm. They're a statewide agency that literally is doing this from North Georgia to the Florida line. And it's a really big agency, and though it's in districts, it still takes, at times, an inordinate amount of time to work through the process. I can tell you we've reached out to all of our district contacts. The mayor and I met with the district commissioner. We put this solidly on his radar. He promised to take that back to staff. So we are pushing every lever that we have accessible to us. And so even with that, it is just a lengthy process, and we'll have to continue to, we are advocating regularly from the mayor on down, and hopefully we'll get a resolution. They know it's a priority project for us. They know how important a public safety complex is, and so that's not lost on them. And so hopefully we'll get to a resolution sooner rather than later.
Thank you. Councilman Perry?
We're moving from 24.1 million. I think this puts it at 24.5.
Yes.
Is there a slide that we're where we like raise the alarm here as to we need to do something or look to recalibrate or
As it relates to GDOT?
No.
the total cost of the project?
So I would say not right now. The alarm isn't raised in terms of projected potential outcomes. Yes, we're tracking that, but because as we've spoken before, Council, about the soft costs, hard costs, and the budget that I, inform city administration of, included construction costs with some contingency is already built in from the contractor side and the owner side. So there are contingency funds that I have, a budget accounted for outside of what's in the contractor's contingency budget. So there's money there than on the owner side. So we're not there yet, but as we go along, depending on the outcome, it could be a point of saying, this is something to look at. But we'll always bring the change orders back to you just because it increases the contract values beyond what Mayor Council has already approved. But we haven't overshot the overall construction budget that city administration and I have circled on our chalkboards.
Okay, Mr. Phillips, could you just talk about, and you as well, Mr. Smith, so we're talking about building a public safety complex which houses both police and fire, and they are emergency responders. So we've got to have special consideration for them to get through the traffic. And the location where we're building this facility is on a state highway, which brings another player into the mix that adds to our costs. But unfortunately, they're necessary costs, right? Because we're building this building and we need our emergency responders to be able to respond to the emergency at standard, if not below, in terms of response time. That's how we maintain our ISO rating. That's how we, talk about, I know we have some issues with crime, but relatively speaking, safe city. And so could you just, and the fact that both of these institutions are co-located in the same facility, which is new and different. We've never done this before in the city. So there are some things that we're learning along the way. But in the long run, we will be more efficient. There will be more cost savings as we get there. But could you just talk about GDOT, State Highway, and the response time and why they are so intricately involved in this project?
Yes, ma'am, and then I'm going to let Mr. Smith talk about some of the specifics of the design. There are a number of issues that went into the previous approvals to move in this direction for this project. I'll begin with the fact that the current facilities that police and fire have are inadequate. I believe, and Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, the current police headquarters is over 75 years old. Approximately.
Retrofitted.
It was
mind you.
retrofitted multiple times. It is not sufficient for a city that has grown over those 75 years. So we needed to accommodate them so that the very things the mayor mentioned, continuing to proactively provide public safety from a facility that is adequate and equipped for them to do so, not only for today, we have to anticipate into the future. The city is still growing, the department is still growing. The design includes things like a real-time crime center, which we don't have today, that it extends the eyes and ears of the police department using technology. The fire department, the same issues. They had a number of operational issues. We're very proud of ISO 1. ISO comes back on a regular basis, and what you were what was adequate 3 years ago may not be adequate today for a growing city. And so all of those were baked into the equation when we started going into the design phase to decide what should this facility look like, which, by the way, also includes a fire station. I will tell you that with all of that, this will help us to continue to provide a safe city. All of us are aware that if safety becomes a question, nothing else really matters. Developers aren't coming, economic development isn't going to work, people in residential communities and subdivisions don't feel safe with their families and children. It's literally at the top of the list. It's the box that we have to check. With all of that said, and understanding the absolute necessity of this, every conversation begins and ends with cost. And Mr. Smith will tell you that it is our constant focus. Projects like this are significant in scale, and I would tell you it is likely this is probably the most significant undertaking the city of Fairburn has ever done in its history. It's not a small undertaking, and with large multi-million-dollar projects, you have to manage them to the dollar because they can get away from you. With that said, Mr. Smith has my absolute confidence. Our entire team has our absolute confidence. And it is our constant focus to manage cost downward, to not let this get away from us, to not let things start sliding into unanticipated costs. All of that said, as Dana has already mentioned, there will be variables that you can't control when you're building a $25 million project. And so we encounter those, we manage them conservatively, we get those costs down. We're always looking for the most cost-effective way to get there. We try to value engineer the building so that we keep those costs low. But with all of that said, it is an ongoing process, and then we manage it as it goes forward. So I'll stop there and let Mr. Dana, who's better qualified, talk about the design of the building and how it will help to substantiate our public safety posture.
I would just continue by saying that inadequate facilities for our current public safety is a pleasant way of saying it. The FCA report that we did in 2023 showed a little bit of what the chiefs have to deal with. The chiefs smile because they're great human beings, not because their facilities are great. And it would be interesting for some people to work in the environment that they work in and provide the top level services that they do. So that became very, very adamant, very upfront. I would say that in terms of cost savings, the initial design, we chose property that the city already owned. The GDOT caveat came into play just because part of that road is GDOT, the other part is not. So that really is just a portion of the project. But it was also a savings because we already own the two parcels right there, so that made it an easy go-to for it. And in coordination with the chiefs, combining the space into one building also was collaborative, creative, and also a savings in that, so that we're building basically one structure and not two different structures, two different places across the city. It's one structure, one contractor, one design, and to be able to house that all together makes that really efficient. The building itself is going to be 2 stories. It's going to have room to grow for the public safety on both sides. There's room on the fire headquarters side, so as the fire department grows, for Chief Robinson to add staff. There's room on the police side, so as the police department grows, for staff to be added. The chiefs were very collaborative and informative that we've already are building some things into the building that will make it easier to add personnel without coming back to council and doing a major project. There'll be some renovations, some build out, yes, but not a major initiatives if we put all of the structure and the bones and meat and bones there. It has a 3-bay fire station similar to Station 23. There's a driveway right in front of the station, so if something should happen, the chief, if he feels like it, can jump on a ladder truck and ride right on out of Fairleigh B. Smith and go left or right and go where he needs to go. The parking will be in the back of the police, so all the fire and police vehicles that aren't the large apparatuses will be back there where they can all see and be in one place. It'll be separated from public parking. There's going to be way more public parking for the public to be able to interact with public safety, along with this community room that right now can hold a couple hundred people in it, so to make it an inviting place. Those are just some of the things that we've done with this facility, not all of them. I would just say that, to Mr. Fuller's point, our whole strategy was to be cost effective as possible. It's just that in 2026, to build something is way more expensive even than it was in 2015. I love to use those prices, but we can't.
And we made an effort to lock in as much as we could, because with construction projects, he talked about 2015 to now, 2025 to now.
Yeah.
These costs are going up
Exponentially.
exponentially, and so we factor that in. And I mentioned value engineering earlier. I wish some of you could have been a fly on the wall with the design process. It literally had both chiefs and their command staffs, Dana, myself, Ms. Chris, in a room going through every minute portion of this building. Value engineering means you put everything you need in this facility, including future considerations, but nothing that you don't. We want the building to be impactful, to be effective, but it's not the Taj Mahal. It is a functional public safety complex that will grow with the city, because this facility at this cost needs to be here for the next 100 years. We're positioned to serve for the next 100 years. Hopefully this city will have grown by then. All of us are gone. But it needs to be positioned to serve the city for an extended period of time into the future.
Councilwoman Davis?
Yes, I just want to say that sometimes you have a budget and you have a plan, and sometimes the budget doesn't meet what the plan desires. That just happens in everyday life. But I have all the confidence in Dana Smith in reference to what he is doing, his knowledge and everything, especially when he can step to Mr. Phillips and tell him, this is too expensive, we can't do this. So, I mean, I have all the confidence in you, Mr. Smith, okay?
Thank you, Councilwoman Davis. I will say that in that meeting, he mentioned it was a lot of no's from me. From the chiefs can tell you, it was a lot of no's.
Yeah, it was an interesting.
And I will say, I mean, this is what we call a capital project, right? Yes. And the lead time for projects like this is a long one. And believe you me, this discussion began in 2015. So you mentioned that. We had an audit done of the police department, which was in abysmal condition. But it was recommended at that time that we start looking at building a public safety complex to house both, because they can co-locate and co-operate and do all the things you do together to be efficient, right? And so, but it began 2015, and it has taken us this long to finally have the funds in place that we can actually break ground on this project. But you see, we make decisions, but it could take 10, 15, sometimes 20 years in order to make them happen. And I will just add another one that was even much longer, and that is 1996, there was the indoor pool at Duncan Park. 1998, the pool was closed. 2010, the pool was still closed. And we bonded to get Duncan Park because part of it was issues with the county. And then 2014, we still had no pool. But in 2016, we finally got what we have. That's the pool and splash pad. But because of the long length of time, we could not afford what we had, which is what where everybody wanted, right? So time value of money, as they say, it just costs more now. It just costs more, and so we do manage our costs, but when we embark on these projects, we accommodate with the contingency, as Mr. Smith talked about, but we're never 100% accurate on that. There's always something. You never know what you're going to find, and you never know what the state might dictate. So that's adding to our costs. So here we are. GMC is Goodwin Mills Carwood LLC, change order for $592,267.74. Are there any more questions, comments? All right, you have before you the recommendation to approve this change order. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, it has been approved. Thank you.
You can
Next
sleep now,
item.
Dana.
Madam Clerk,
The
next
next
item.
item are council comments.
All right, Councilman Perry.
First, I'd like to say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. We truly appreciate all the love and nurturing that you have and continue to pour into all of your families. So thank you. As the weather continues to warm up, please take the opportunity to bring your families out and participate at the many upcoming events. H2O Academy that they just spoke about today, Jazz in the Park at Duncan Park, Foodie Fridays, and of course the concert events later on and starting in June. Please continue to pray for our military service members around the world as they continue to defend this nation, and pray for their safe and whole return to their families. And lastly, I'd like to again offer prayers and sympathy for Sergeant Smith. These men and their women, they lay it on the line every day for all of our families in this community. And I just want to say I salute and rest in peace.
Councilwoman Benson.
I echo my fellow council members' comments, and will also include and encourage everyone to come out to the Fairburn Housing Fair, which is tomorrow, I do believe. Take that opportunity. It's from 1 to 5 p.m., I believe where's my location?
At the Youth Center.
The Youth Center. So please come out, take advantage, learn about all of your housing opportunities and all of the resources that are there. To all families dealing with the instructor and Canvas hacking that has happened, I just want to say, hang in there. School is going to end on time, but I know that there's a lot of stress on the students, on the teachers, faculty, staff. There's so much that our educators do for us, and to have to pivot so quickly right now in order to make sure that grades are in, to deal with the extension that Fulton County Schools has just put out. I know that causes some stress especially for graduating seniors or seniors who thought that they would be graduating on time. For the high school students and middle school students that are greatly affected by Canvas, know that you have support. Reach out to your counselors, reach out to your school administrators, and know that you will get through this. And if there is frustration, then speak up and speak out to your educators and support your peers in this time. Thank you.
Councilwoman Hauser?
Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight to the City Council meeting. Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers. I hope that you have more clarity and understanding in our city camp plan as we move forward. I am excited about the Keep Me Alive H2 Academy swim lessons for the kids and youths. This is a great investment. And public safety, fire, and police, please be safe. God bless you. And we appreciate all that you do. Thank you.
Councilwoman Davis?
Thank you, Mayor. I too would like to send my condolences and heartfelt prayers out to Sergeant Smith's family, his extended family, the police department, the fire department, all staff here at the city of Fairburn, council members. We are there with you, and I know it's difficult, but just continue to lean in and lean on God, and He'll strengthen us through this as well. Thank you.
Councilwoman Nichols?
Good evening. Just want to echo my peers around sending condolences to Sergeant Smith's family and the whole police department and just everyone who knew and touched him. We continue to thank you for your service and literally dedicating your lives to our safety. So can't just thank you enough for that. I also want to make sure that people are exercising their right to vote. It is that season. Please go out and vote. Early voting is still to the 15th, right? Yes. The 15th, and then Election Day is May 19th. This election is obviously Fairburn. We have a special election, but this election is way bigger than just Fairburn. It's the whole state of Georgia. Like, you might have to take some notes with you to like see who you decide to vote for, but definitely do your research because there's so many people and questions on the ballot. And when there's an attack on everything that we do, we need to make sure we show up and vote. So thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Smallwood?
No comments.
Okay. I'd like to close as well a belated Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers, the grandmothers, the aunties, and those who feel the role of caring for others. Everyone is deserving to be celebrated. Today, I attended the ribbon cutting of the Grady Emergency facility, and what an awesome facility it is. And it fulfills a healthcare desert that we have here on our side of town. And that is just one of 2 more facilities to come on board, with the final one being a full-fledged hospital that's planned to be built in the next 5 years. So exciting times ahead for that. Also, the housing fair, please come out. This is one of many because housing is a big issue here in Fairburn. I want to thank Lieutenant Dyer for coming tonight and providing us with that special prayer. I can imagine that it wasn't easy for him, being that he was praying, helping us, but a colleague of his. So thank you so much, Lieutenant Dyer. And we are all praying for the family of Sergeant Smith. I did speak with his parents this morning, who are in Virginia, and they appreciated hearing from me and hearing from the chief, and they will keep us updated on their plans, and we will share that information with you as well. These are difficult times, and I just want to say this is the 3rd police officer that I've experienced in my 13 years here on council, who's passed away. And it's hard. It's just really, really hard. And so, but I believe in God, and I'm leaning on Him to help all of us get through. So thank you so much. With that, do we have executive session?
Yes, real estate.
Okay. May I have a motion to go into executive session for real estate?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Executive session. May I have a motion to return to regular meeting, please?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Madam Clerk, first item.
The first item is going to be a motion to acquire parcel 1 that consists of approximately 2,563.96 square feet in fee simple required right-of-way, 1,184.57 square feet of permanent easement for construction, maintenance of slopes, and 366.88 square feet of temporary easement for construction of drives plus improvements that are through the tract or parcel of land located in land lot 51 of the 9F District of Fulton County with the purchase price of $4,800.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved. Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
That motion carries. Next item.
Okay, the next item is going to be a motion to acquire parcel number 9A with 8,527.31 square feet in fee simple required right-of-way and 4,027.06 square feet of permanent easement for construction and maintenance of slopes in the purchase price of $11,730, as well as acquire parcel 11 with 10,018.80 square foot in fee simple required right-of-way and 2,356.17 square feet of permanent easement for construction and maintenance of slopes with a purchase price of $12,247.50, to include acquiring parcel 14/22 with 12,762.09 square feet in fee simple required right-of-way of $4,841.89 square feet of permanent easement for construction and maintenance of slopes in the amount of $16,675 with a total purchase price of $40,652.50.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next item.
The next item is motion number 3. This is to acquire parcel number 5 with 3,977.93 square feet in fee simple required right-of-way, 11,446.31 square feet of permanent easement for construction and maintenance of slopes, and 369.28 square feet of temporary easement for construction of drives in the purchase price of $17,700.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Who provided the second?
Was Hauser?
Okay.
Next item.
Motion number 4 is to acquire parcel number 8 with 7,405.98 square feet in fee simple required right-of-way and 3,722.78 square feet of permanent easement for construction and maintenance of slopes in the purchase price of $24,300.
Is there a motion?
So moved. Moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next item.
And the last motion is for parcel number 17. This is a motion to condemn parcel 17 after all administrative and legal processes have occurred, to include 11,253.55 square feet in fee simple required right-of-way and 19,640.22 square feet of permanent easement for construction maintenance of slope for a market value price of $22,200.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Is that Perry or
Perry.
Perry and Davis?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? Okay, next item.
That's it. Motion to adjourn.
All right, did we have a motion to adjourn?
So
Move. Second.
Third. It's been motioned to second to adjourn. Everyone have a good evening. Thank you.